Hi, I'm Evan Deal, and this is Living in Indianapolis, Indiana. Today, we're going to look at the top 5 suburbs in North Indianapolis and really explore what makes the North Side special, diving into each of the areas to see what makes it unique and what makes it an awesome place to live. But before we get started, be sure to hit that like button on this video, hit subscribe, and smash that notification bell because you want to stay in the loop for everything that's happening within Indianapolis. And it's a huge help to our channel. We really appreciate it. So be sure to hit all the buttons and let's dive in. Number 5 on our list is Noblesville, Indiana, which is in the tip top of the northeast of the city, just sitting above Fishers up in Hamilton County. And it's a really amazing growing place. Let's look at some of the stats. So the distance to downtown is around 25 miles. You're looking at a 30 to 35 minute drive. Median income of $77,000. Median home price. You're going to see this very much will change depending on the community we look at today, but around $361,000. That's over $100,000 above Indianapolis. The city itself. So more expensive homes up here on the north side. Population of Noblesville is growing, and it's around 70,000 right now, which makes it a little bit smaller than the cities directly to the south of it, but it's definitely on the upswing. Graduation rate for Noblesville schools looking around 96%, and the crime rate is 57% below the Indiana average, and the violent crime rate is 77% below the US average. What makes Noblesville special? It is a growing community that is developing its cultural identity over time, which you'll see in a couple of the places here today. Noblesville is home to one of the largest concert venues in all of Indiana with the Ruoff Center, where you have all sorts of just A-list acts come all year round. So if you love music, it's a great place to live. It's a quick drive over there from different places on the north side, but it is in Noblesville. So it's a super fast drive and a great venue. Another area of interest in Noblesville, and it's also in Cicero, is Morse Reservoir, which is one of the 3 major reservoirs around Indianapolis, with Eagle Creek and Geist being the others. And it's a great place for waterfront living, for water sports, even beach time. So just an amazing reservoir full of nature, full of fun, a great place to bring the family and have a great time. And that is accessible very easily from Noblesville. You have historic Noblesville Square, where you're going to get all sorts of dining options, shops, having a true downtown feel. And that's not the only shopping within Noblesville. There's also the Hamilton Town Center, which is a great mall, and you can really get anything you want there. There's all sorts of premium shopping across the north side of Indianapolis, and Noblesville is no exception. And representing our state flower very well, Noblesville is home to the Indiana Peony Festival, which happens every year in the spring and is a great local cultural event to check out if you want to get a vibe of Noblesville. So while it's still growing, Noblesville has sort of a smaller town feel, but it's definitely not a smaller town. It is growing into its own unique city status, even apart from Fishers, which is right next to, and then Westfield and Carmel elsewhere in the county. Noblesville is definitely on the upswing. Coming in at number 4 on our list is Westfield, Indiana, another fast-growing north side suburb. So Westfield sits directly north of Carmel in Hamilton County, and it's kind of parallel with Noblesville. If Noblesville is sort of right above Fishers, Westfield is right above Carmel, and both of them are on the upswing. So just like we talked about with Noblesville, Westfield is growing quickly and developing its own identity. Let's run down some of the stats. So distance to downtown, you're looking at around 20 miles. Once again, a 25 to 30 minute drive. It's pretty easy to get down there, but it's going to be a little bit further than some of the areas that we're going to talk about later. Median income is around $100,000, which is around $40,000 more than Indianapolis itself. Median home price is $450,000. So significantly higher than the 250 or below that you see in Marion County and Indianapolis. And that's going to be the case for all of these north side suburbs. More expensive housing in the area, but generally speaking, very well-developed communities as well. It's one of the more affluent areas in Indiana. The population of Westfield is 50,000 and growing, so a little bit smaller than Noblesville and definitely smaller than some of the other areas we'll look at, but a city in its own right that continues to grow. Graduation rate is 95%. Crime rate is 65% below the US average and below the Indiana average as well. Some of the major attractions that set Westfield apart are Grand Park, which is a gigantic sports complex. And when I say sports complex, I mean like all the sports: baseball, football, basketball, hockey, lacrosse. I think they even have kayaking. It's just an amazing facility where you can train and play in anything you can think of. I've mentioned in other videos how Indianapolis is a sports crazed town. We love sports here: football, basketball, you name it. Westfield definitely fits into that. Westfield is a sports crazy town as well, and the complex itself is a haven for all sports. You have Cool Creek Park as well in Westfield. Great place for nature, walking trails, place to hang out with the family. Westfield and the north side on the whole is home to a ton of different parks. There's lots of nature around Indianapolis and a great place to get out and about, even beyond the city amenities. Just like I mentioned with Noblesville, Westfield is home to tons of places to eat, every type of restaurant you can think of, and there's great places to hang out, great places to go to a brewery or get a really nice dinner. You'll see that throughout the entire north side, and Westfield continues to develop on that front. And one of the other neat things about Westfield is that it's still building. There's new build options in Westfield. So people who have maybe looked in Carmel, but they're looking for a new build home, and you don't really see that near as much since Carmel is more developed at this point, Westfield still has those options. And so you see the town continuing to define its cultural identity, to grow into a city of its own right, and you see more and more people moving up to Westfield because of all these factors. Next up on our list, number 3 is Fishers. And if you've watched our channel before, you know we have a ton of videos about Fishers and why it's such an awesome place to live. Population's over 100,000 and continuing to grow. There are still new build opportunities in Fishers, and the city itself is growing expansively in Hamilton County. So it's on the northeast side of the city. You just hop up 69 off of 465, and there is Fishers. And there's tons of different unique areas within Fishers. You have the Nickel Plate District, you have the Fishers part of Geist, you have the Fishers District itself, and there's something for everyone in Fishers. It's developing its own cultural identity that sets it apart on the north side, sets it apart from Carmel and even from Noblesville, which they're kind of connected to each other, right? With one being directly north of the other. But Fishers is investing heavily in its downtown and in different cultural landmarks within the city to help it stand out and be a really great place to live. So let's look at some of the stats. So the distance to downtown Indy, it's going to be a little closer. It's around 17 miles, 20 to 25 minute drive. And this is definitely going to vary depending on where you live in Fishers. If you're going to live on the more northern parts of Fishers, it's going to take you a bit longer, but the southern parts can really speedily get to downtown. The median income in Fishers, like all these places, is significantly higher than the Indianapolis average at about 110,000, so around 50,000 higher than what you see in Indianapolis, the city itself. Median home price around 410,000, and this continues to increase throughout Hamilton County and definitely in Fishers as well. Graduation rate is 97%. Fishers schools are considered among the top schools for public schools in Indiana, and there are some great private options in the area as well. So you have Fishers and you have Hamilton Southeastern that are considered 2 of the top rated high schools within the state. Crime rate is 68% below US average. It was actually ranked as the best place to live in the entire country back in 2017. So definitely considered one of the premier areas within Indianapolis and within the state of Indiana. Some of the major attractions in Fishers include the Nickel Plate District. There's actually an amphitheater here where there's performing arts. So we've talked about this throughout all of Hamilton County, but there's a definite emphasis on the arts, where you have Ruoff in Noblesville. We're going to talk about Carmel in a little bit, but you have the amphitheater in Fishers as well, where you have this culture of music and performance. And in this area, there's tons of restaurants, breweries, places to eat, places to hang out. The downtown is really bustling and developing in Fishers, and it continues to do so. There's tons of new construction for all sorts of exciting things in Fishers downtown. Another feature that you've heard me rave about on this channel is Geist Reservoir. I mentioned it earlier. It's one of the 3 primary reservoirs and big bodies of water in the Indianapolis area. So it's actually split between Indianapolis and Fishers, and the north side of the reservoir is in Fishers. So it sits in Hamilton County. And this is where you see some of the most expensive neighborhoods, most expensive waterfront homes in all of Indiana. In this area, it's considered more of a luxury living area, and it's a great place for people who love boating and water sports. That is what Geist Reservoir is all about. The sailing club is there for Indianapolis, the yacht club, and their private docks as far as the eye can see, and a marina as well. And Conner Prairie is one of Indiana's coolest attractions, where you can really step back in time and see how pioneers lived in Indiana. It's really neat, and there's tons of fun things for kids. They even have a hot air balloon that goes up all the time. So it's just a really, really cool place. There's also concerts there. On the Prairie, I know the ISO does Symphony on the Prairie every summer, where you can see the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra perform all sorts of classical and pops concerts outside of their normal venue in Conner Prairie. And Fishers is home to tons of farmers markets. So they actually have the Fishers Farmer Market, where you can get farm to table options and get really high quality food. It's something that Indianapolis as a whole definitely has been emphasizing more and more lately, is the farm to table experience. And that happens in Fishers as well. It's a big part of the local food scene. So on the whole, Fishers is number 3 on our list. It's a really, really awesome place to live. There's housing options out the window. There's apartments, there's single family homes, and there's all sorts of neighborhoods, everything from Geist to new builds to established homes in Fishers. Whatever you're looking for, there's a really great option, and it's considered one of the premier places to live throughout the whole state. Number 2 on our list is Zionsville, and Zionsville is the smallest community on this list, only around 30,000 people. It's more agrarian than other areas, and it's the only one on this list that doesn't sit in Hamilton County. It sits in the northwest in Boone County. So if you have Brownsburg on the west side, you have Zionsville up here. And Zionsville is one of the most affluent places in the entire state. This is the place where you see Colts players live, because their facility is in the area. And it is full of huge, huge mansions, but also houses that kind of sit in the country on bigger lots. And Zionsville itself has a really charming downtown, and it gives you that Main Street feel. In fact, we've done videos before in Zionsville, and we're doing more because it's such a cool, unique place to live. There really isn't another place around Indianapolis that's exactly like Zionsville. The closest thing you probably see would be like Bargersville, which is on the south side, south of Greenwood. But Zionsville on the north side definitely stands alone with its vibe. It's different than everything else we're talking about on this list because it's more rural, a little more private, and a little more removed from the city. So let's look at the stats. The distance to downtown Indy is around 15 miles, 20 to 25-minute drive. This is really going to depend on where you live in Zionsville. You can have a longer drive from there because it is a ways out there in the country. So it depends on where you live. The median income is $130,000, which is significantly higher than the Marion County, Indianapolis median. Median home price is $600,000, which is $350,000 more than the Indianapolis median. And this goes back to what I said before. In Zionsville, you see some of the most expensive homes in the state. Some of the largest homes are really, really nice custom builds, luxury builds all throughout the area. And a lot of them have acreage and land to go with them. You see some unique architecture too in Zionsville. Really cool housing options. And if you're looking in that budget range, Zionsville is one of the premier destinations for that type of home because it's common in the area. You see lots of really cool, unique homes in Zionsville. Population, like I mentioned, it's just over 30,000, a lot smaller than some of the other suburbs we've been talking about. Graduation rate is 98%, and Zionsville schools are consistently ranked in the top 5 in the entire state. Zionsville High School is definitely considered one of the higher ranked public schools in the area, and just in general, their school system is excellent. Crime rate is 84% below the US average. That's the highest of everything we've seen on this list in terms of the difference from the national average. Major attractions in Zionsville include Brick Main Street. So there's all sorts of nice little shops, there's restaurants and breweries, and all sorts of cool stuff that's like a small town feel just north of the major city of Indianapolis. That's really what Zionsville gives you, is small town vibes in a big city area. And like I mentioned, it feels a little bit more removed than other areas that we'll see on this list. So it gives it that sense of seclusion and privacy as well. You have Starkey Nature Park as well. I talked about nature around Indianapolis, and that's definitely no exception in Zionsville. If you want to get out and about, go on walking trails, this is a great place to do so. You have the Sullivan Muntz Cultural Center. If you're into arts, if you're into history, there's some of that here as well. And then you have the Fall Festival Parade. So you have a major parade going through that's localized to the area, and it's something really great that they like to celebrate within Zionsville. And now we're at number 1 on our list of the top 5 suburbs north of Indianapolis, and we are going to touch on, you already know what it is, Carmel, Indiana, which is considered widely to be one of the best places to live in the entire country, and certainly within Indiana, but even in the entire United States, Carmel's consistently ranked up there. I call it the crown jewel of Indianapolis because it sits directly above the city on the north side, right in the middle. Carmel has a population of over 100,000, and it continues to grow, but you don't see it growing with new builds and expansion because it's really developed and it has its own unique vibe. If you want to learn more about Carmel and really deep dive into it, check out the other videos on this channel because we explore this area very thoroughly and there's a ton to learn and explore. But let's touch on some of the quick stats. The distance to downtown Indy is around 15 miles. Once again, a 20 to 25 minute drive, and it sits right on top of the city. The median income is $120,000, so higher than Marion County, a little bit lower than what we saw in Zionsville, but still one of the most affluent areas in Indiana by the stats. The median home price is $525,000, and we see this continuing to rise as demand increases, but the inventory doesn't increase as much because there's not as many areas to build. In fact, in Carmel, it's very common to take some of the lots that exist and actually build a house where there already is a house, because the property values support that approach because the lots are very valuable in Carmel since there's nowhere else to build. Population, as I mentioned earlier, is 100,000 and growing, very similar in size to Fishers, and you definitely have seen population and even businesses move to the north side to Carmel, where you have different corporate headquarters and you see different professionals moving for those jobs as well. Graduation rate is 98%. The Carmel school system is considered among the best in the state, usually ranking around the top 5. In terms of public schools, Carmel High School is considered one of the best in the state by the rankings, and the graduation rate reflects that. Crime rate is 62% below the US average. Some of the major attractions in Carmel include the Arts and Design District, where you can get everything that you want to outfit your house or look at galleries. And it's just a really cool place with different unique businesses that you don't see everywhere around Indianapolis. It's an area to get upscale finishes for your home, or to look at different boutiques, different galleries, where you're going to see a true investment in art. And you see this throughout Carmel. There's art everywhere. There's art in the roundabouts. There's roundabouts themselves, which are kind of artful on the street, where you don't see that everywhere in Indiana. It's definitely a place where design is paramount and a great place to sort of outfit your home. You have Cox Hall Gardens, which has a manor, has lighthouses, has an amphitheater, another place where you can walk, relax in the park, another green space area on the north side, and definitely a really shining jewel within Carmel itself, and a great place to explore. You have the Carmel City Center. I've touched on this with some of the other suburbs. Tons of shopping, tons of restaurants. There's Clay Terrace as well within Carmel for shopping and restaurants. All sorts of places where you can really get whatever you're looking for. Any type of business, any type of product. There's high-end shopping throughout the north side and definitely throughout Carmel. And the Chris Kindle Market, which is really cool German style Christmas event every year in December in Carmel, where you have the true Christmas market experience and get to celebrate the season. So those are our top 5 north side suburbs in Indianapolis. We have Noblesville, we have Westfield, we have Fishers, Zionsville, and Carmel. Each of them is great. There's really no losing with any of them. They're all wonderful communities, and each are distinct from each other. They have some similarities in that they all have really well-built infrastructure. They're all growing. You see population shift north within Indianapolis because these areas are considered desirable and growing areas. You see companies moving up there. You see all of the support businesses like restaurants and shopping come to meet that economic growth as well. All of them are above average in terms of the median income, but also the median home price. You see a little bit higher property taxes in these areas as well to help with some of that infrastructure need. But all of them are thriving communities and considered really great places to live and are just statistically and culturally awesome within the city. So if you're interested in exploring any of these communities or learning more, definitely stay tuned to Living in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am Evan Deal, and we'll see you in the next video.